George Washington, University, Jonathan Turley. All right, Jonathan Turley, you are a giant among constitutional lawyers. We're thrilled to have you on, Jonathan. Thank you. Am I wrong?
About my being a giant among constitutional lawyers? Absolutely not. You're correct on that, and I can't amplify that enough. No, the point is a very, very good one. I still am not sure what point was being made by the U.S. Attorney. He seems to be a rebel without a cause on this. He does serve at the pleasure of the President. This has happened before. It's not strange. And the great irony is that presidents will often ask for global resignations and decide not to accept some, which of course he decided in 2 cases to do precisely that. It might have been 3 cases, except the way that this was handled. But it's perfectly bizarre to me for people to lionize this act. I considered it deeply unprofessional. I mean, he is a high-ranking political appointee. He serves at the pleasure of the President. Many U.S. attorneys will put forward the resignation as a matter of course. But when you're asked by the Attorney General to put in your letter, you do so because you're a professional. And I'm not too sure what he was trying to achieve. I still don't know what the point is, quite frankly. I don't know why you would want the President to fire you.
Well, you know what? It's almost like Sally Yates. You know, they have to make themselves some kind of a hero to the left. But what is amazing is that my understanding is that Dana Bente had called every one of the remaining 47. 46 had already tendered their resignation. And they were called and they were told, look, you're going to get an email or a letter. And, you know, they got that courtesy ahead of time. And he went ballistic. He said, this can't possibly apply to me. But let's assume that he was right and he felt that he had been offered the job. At any point in time, he can be asked for his resignation. So what makes him think he's entitled to that job? I mean, it's juvenile.
It is juvenile, and that's what I find just mystifying, is that I don't know what he was trying to suggest when he said, you're going to have to fire me. It's like a guest that won't leave after dinner. You know, this isn't your table. I mean, you don't have the right to stay. But particularly as an attorney, it's not that your client is the President of the United States. He's not. It's not that you are dependent upon him. You're not. You're only dependent upon him in one sense, and that is he controls your office. He's the head of the executive branch. And so if someone comes to you as the President of the United States and says, I need all of your resignations, the answer is yes. And there's no variation on that. I don't understand why people are lionizing him for this. I considered this a rather silly and theatrical move.
Well,
you know, I also think, by the way, it's a shame because he has an impressive record, and I think he tarnished both his legacy and his office.
You know, it's interesting that you know, I've been listening to people on the left all day long and saying he's got such a great record, he's such a great prosecutor, but I don't know any United States attorney in the Southern District, as I said, the premier district in the nation, who hasn't been a phenomenal prosecutor. I mean, all of these men and one woman, as I recall, are the best of the best. And it's not as though they can't find somebody else who's terrific. But to those out there who think that one person carries the whole office, I mean, in fact, I mean, I ran an office. My chief assistant probably knew more about cases than I did. I mean, you know, you run the office, but, you know, in terms of the facts, there are a lot of other people below you who know a lot more than you do. But
I think that's right. I mean, when you're the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, you represent a premier office with people that work very hard, and that comes with a certain responsibility. You don't demean that office with these types of, frankly, juvenile acts. You know, you're a professional. You're the United States Attorney. You serve at the pleasure of the President. And if the President wants all of the resignations of every U.S. Attorney, you send it in. You don't have this sort of peevish, you know, taunt. And so in the end, I think this is a sad way for him to end a very impressive career as U.S. Attorney.
Yes, very true. Jonathan Turley, certainly a giant. Thanks for being with us.